If you're new to our channel, we'd love to have you join our little community. Just hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We promise it will be worth your while.
"How could you do this to me? Not just me, how about the kids?" Bill said. "I was lonely when you were away so often. I never planned this to happen. It just did," Jocelyn replied. Jocelyn and Bill were just a few months short of their 12th wedding anniversary, and both wondered if they would still be married then. Both Bill and Jocelyn amazingly still loved one another. "I'm going out for a ride," Bill said angrily as he slammed the door shut and walked out to his car. Like most men, Bill liked his space. Bill was too angry to stay home and just wanted to go out to think. Bill wondered why and how this could ever have happened. He had been a good husband, not perfect but good to his wife. Bill knew he had his faults. He spent too much time on the internet. He yelled when angry, but was never violent. He was also very impatient at times. He admitted all of his faults. Jocelyn even stated that this was not the problem. Bill knew he wasn't very handsome. He was balding and slightly overweight, but Jocelyn had said his appearance didn't matter. Actually, Bill and Jocelyn had been pen pals and had never met in person till shortly before getting married. Since then, they had 3 children, all girls. Jennabeth was 10, Jessica 7, and Elizabeth 3. 6 years ago, Bill had been diagnosed with skin cancer. It was the very serious form, malignant melanoma, and for the past 3 years, Bill had been taking experimental vaccine treatments for it. This had been a trying experience, but they made it through that ordeal. Like all marriages, there were good times and bad, but they had overcome the tough times. At least Bill thought so to himself. He thought he knew Jocelyn better than any husband could know his wife. What Jocelyn had told him still shocked him worse than anything had in his life. 11 years they had been married. Jocelyn had been having an affair with another woman, Bill screamed while he drove his car down the road. Bill just found it so unbelievable. It couldn't possibly be true. It sounded like something you saw on one of those TV talk shows. Still, it was true. His wife of 11 years said she was a lesbian now. It just seemed unfathomable that any woman could say she was gay after 11 years of marriage, plus having 3 children. To Bill, it was just unimaginable. "What am I going to do?" Bill said, still angry, but feeling sad too. Even with Jocelyn's revelation, Bill still loved her. Bill wondered what he would do without Jocelyn. For the most part, Bill was a very insecure person and an introvert. He didn't make friends very easily. Bill had always been shy with girls when he was younger. These reasons had led Bill to write a pen pal organization in 1985. This had been how he and Jocelyn had met, and after 2 years of writing, Bill had journeyed to the Philippines. In May 1987, they got married. Then after completing the immigration process, Jocelyn came to live in the USA in December 1987. After 13 years of marriage, 3 kids, and a staunchly Catholic upbringing, Jocelyn had decided she was a lesbian. Bill just found this totally unfathomable as he drove into the mall parking lot. Jocelyn was home, just sitting at the kitchen table crying. She had just seen the children off to bed. They had heard the argument going on between their parents. It hurt Jocelyn very much to have the kids see their parents fight. Jocelyn blamed herself for the fight, even if she never liked it when Bill yelled. Bill had a reason to yell. It looked like their marriage of almost 12 years could be coming to an end. It all started 3 years ago. Jocelyn was then working a part-time job. There, she met another Filipina named Alicia. Alicia was practically everything that Jocelyn was not. She was beautiful, outgoing, a free spirit. Still, Jocelyn and her soon became friends. Alicia had recently been divorced. She had no children also. There was something odd about Alicia that Jocelyn could not figure out. One Sunday, while Bill was watching the kids, Jocelyn and Alicia visited the mall. While there, they decided to have a pretzel, so they sat down in the food court to eat and just were chatting. Another girl walked up to the table. She was maybe in her early 30s, and she had very short blonde hair and was wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt. "Hi, Alicia, how are you? Haven't seen you in a long time," the stranger said. "Oh, I've been busy, mostly work," Alicia said. "Who is your friend? She's kind of cute," said Terry. Terry was the name Alicia introduced her to Jocelyn by. Jocelyn meekly said hello. Jocelyn wondered what woman calls another woman cute. "Are you going to the women's space picnic? It's next week in John Prince Park. A bunch of us girls are coming from Ale. It starts at 3. Terry said, "I was supposed to work that day till 4. Alicia replied, "Will it still be going on then?" "Oh, sure. We hope to be there till sunset. It will be cool to meet the women from AOL and put some faces to their names," Terry replied. "Yes, it would. I will try to make it," Alicia replied. "Well, bring your new friend along. Hope to see you there." Terry said goodbye quickly, then winked at Jocelyn and walked off into the mall. Jocelyn looked at her suspiciously as she left. Alicia just continued to drink her diet soda. She was strange. Jocelyn said, "How do you know her?" Alicia appeared to think for a few seconds before replying, "I met Terry at a club I go to sometimes. She said I was cute. Is she gay?" Jocelyn replied, "Yes, Terry is gay." Alicia replied, then hesitantly added, "So am I." "You are a lesbian. You know that is a sin," Jocelyn replied as she appeared shocked by her friend's revelation. "Yes, I am," Alicia answered. "But you used to be married," Jocelyn said as she appeared shocked by her friend's revelation. "Yes, but I was never really happy or satisfied." Alicia could tell that Jocelyn's shock at her revelation was growing. She had lost other friends when she told them. Alicia didn't think of Jocelyn as anything more than a friend, but her reaction hurt her, no less. It isn't right for two women to love one another. Don't you know what the Catholic Church teaches? Alicia just sat there silently. She wanted to cry to herself. "I think it's disgusting." "Jocelyn, I just considered you my friend, nothing more. Please try to understand me. It wasn't easy for me to tell you," Alicia tried to explain. Jocelyn got up from the table and said, "I want to go home. Please drop me at my home." Alicia complied. They left the mall and rode back to Jocelyn's house, sitting in complete silence. For the next 2 months, Jocelyn still saw Alicia at work, but the only times they talked, it was strictly work-related. Jocelyn actually began to include Alicia in her daily prayers. It also quickly became apparent to Jocelyn that Alicia was hurt by her friend's reaction. Jocelyn started to think once she realized how hurt Alicia was. She still believed that being gay was a sin, but that it was only for God to judge Alicia, not her. It hadn't been right how she treated Alicia. Didn't she hate it when she was a little girl and other kids would pick on her because she had a slight speech impediment? She even had a hairdresser in the Philippines that was a gay man. Jocelyn concluded that she was wrong in her behavior to Alicia and would apologize to her. If Alicia still wanted to be her friend, Jocelyn would be her friend. A few days later, Jocelyn and Alicia were having their lunch breaks at the same time. Both were eating, but neither was doing any talking, unlike in the past, till Jocelyn finally spoke up. "How have you been?" Jocelyn asked. Alicia was a little surprised that Jocelyn was talking to her. "Okay, I think." "I'm sorry, Alicia. I really am for the way I treated you," Jocelyn said. As she did, Alicia just stared at her and tears started to form in her eyes. "I was really an idiot and mean in how I treated you. Will you accept my apology?" The tears were starting to flow down Alicia's cheek. though she wanted to control it. Yes, I accept. I'm at fault too. I'd like us to still be friends. Of course, I will be your friend. After Jocelyn's apology, her and Alicia resumed their friendship. Actually, Alicia probably became Jocelyn's best friend. Alicia was a frequent visitor to Jocelyn's home. Bill, Jocelyn's husband, had started cancer treatments. The only available treatment option meant Bill had to travel to California from Florida home at least one time a month for a year. So Alicia was soon making more visits to the house because Jocelyn was lonely during Bill's frequent absences. They also frequently went shopping together sometimes. Jocelyn did not bring up the issue of Alicia's sexual orientation, and Alicia was careful not to ever make it obvious while around Jocelyn. Jocelyn decided that if Alicia wished to live a gay lifestyle, it was not hers to judge, only God's. About 2 months passed, then came Alicia's birthday. Bill was busy on the computer and the kids were all playing. Jocelyn got Alicia a $25 gift certificate from JCPenney for Alicia. She knew Alicia liked shopping there. When Alicia opened the envelope and read the card, a smile came upon her face. She really liked the gift certificate. Thank you, Jocelyn. You really didn't need to do that. Jocelyn and Alicia were standing face to face, maybe a foot apart in the living room. You are welcome. Never mind, you are my friend, Jocelyn replied. Alicia was very happy at receiving the gift from her friend, and she stepped forward to give Jocelyn a kiss on the cheek and absent-mindedly kissed her on the mouth instead. Alicia instantly realized what she had done and felt guilty because she knew how Jocelyn felt about her orientation. Alicia stepped back, and Jocelyn seemed not to appear angry. Actually, more of a bemused look. Maybe Alicia was imagining things, but she thought for a moment when she kissed Jocelyn that Jocelyn was actually kissing back for a second. I'm sorry. I didn't really mean to do that, Alicia said apologetically. Nothing to be sorry about, Jocelyn said, still with a bemused look on her face. Jocelyn then quickly changed the subject, acting like nothing happened. The rest of the time at the house went on very normally, and Alicia went home after watching some television with Bill and Jocelyn around 9 p.m. Jocelyn went to bed that night, but had great difficulty sleeping. She prayed the rosary, and when she wasn't doing that, she just laid in bed thinking. Just a small kiss, but it felt good. She actually enjoyed it. How the heck could this have happened? Nothing like this had ever happened like this before. Jocelyn had been raised strict Catholic in the Philippines and had been taught that being gay was a sin. This was just a friendly kiss, or was it more? After that night, Jocelyn and Alicia continued their friendship acting like nothing had ever happened outwardly. Nevertheless, Alicia felt that there was something different about Jocelyn. Alicia had seen this before in her life. It was when a supposedly straight woman had the first question or doubt her sexual orientation. See, the lesbian community was much more diversified than the stereotypes that heterosexuals had of it. Many lesbians had at one time in their lives been married and had children. For many different reasons, they came to the realization that they were actually gay. Some continued in heterosexual relationships. Some left their husbands and took up the lesbian lifestyle. Also, some married women carried on discreet affairs with another woman. Alicia had met some of these women, to be honest, unless the woman was going to get a divorce and leave their husbands. Alicia had no interest in them. First, Alicia was reluctant to be the cause for any marriage to fall apart. Then, some women just wanted to experiment with their sexuality, not commit themselves to another woman. There were many reasons for Alicia to be shy towards these women. She did find Jocelyn very attractive, and they were good friends, but she was sure that Jocelyn's staunch Catholicism and family attitudes would never make her change. Alicia thought that at one time in their lives, that 50-75, of women had a gay thought. Most of them were too afraid to try. Alicia loved Jocelyn as a friend and wanted to keep their relationship just that of two friends. So, Alicia just remained friends with Jocelyn and decided to just let things happen if they did, but only if Jocelyn took the first step. This went on for another month or so. Then Jocelyn invited Alicia over one night for dinner and to watch television. Bill was out of town for his cancer treatments at the time. They had a nice family dinner with Jocelyn's 3 children. Alicia adored children and envied Jocelyn for having them. She always wanted to have her own, but her disdain for men and lack of money to pay for artificial insemination ruled it out. Elizabeth was only 6 months old and Jocelyn was still nursing her. Alicia helped Jocelyn put the children to bed. Then they sat in the living room and started talking. "Doesn't seem to be much on TV tonight," Jocelyn said after looking through the TV guide which she handed to Alicia. "Yes, not too much. Any recommendations? We could watch a video. Any ideas?" Alicia replied. She could sense uneasiness coming from Jocelyn. "Or we could watch those British shows." It was a Saturday night and PBs had on 2 British comedy imports as time goes by and keeping up appearances. Jocelyn was looking very intently at Alicia. So many conflicting feelings and emotions were going through her head. One little kiss and she just couldn't explain it, other than it felt so good. Then she was staunchly Catholic, and Catholic doctrine taught that all forms of homosexuality were a sin. Yet some doctrine was considered maybe out of date. What was the matter with loving another human being? This was a common criticism. Here she was, looking at another woman with a sexual interest, and this was driving her nuts in so many ways. Alicia knew that Jocelyn was staring at her and deep in thought. Alicia liked Jocelyn very much and found her very attractive. On the other hand, she was a married woman. With all the baggage that came with that, Jocelyn had a warm, loving soul and was totally feminine. Just what Alicia liked, and even with Alicia being single and looking at the moment, she was still very wary. "Whatever you want to do," Alicia replied. Then to Alicia's total surprise, Jocelyn gave her a deep kiss on the lips. "You know what you just did?" Alicia said once Jocelyn stopped. "Yes, I do." Jocelyn smiled and proceeded to kiss Alicia again. So began a torrid affair between Jocelyn and Alicia. Jocelyn acted like a long-time repressed lesbian as she unleashed her passion on Alicia. To Alicia, this was not the most satisfactory of relationships, but with no other prospective girlfriend, she went along. The kissing went to being lovers in a very short time. This continued for another 2 years. Whenever Bill was out of town, Jocelyn would spend her time with Alicia. They saw one another also on weekends, if Jocelyn could get away for a few hours at a time. It did not take long for Jocelyn to lose all sexual interest in her husband. She did allow Bill to make love to her when he wished, but she didn't have her heart in it. Her interest in Alicia was just not sexual. It was the understanding and the communication between the two. A woman can understand another woman in ways a man never would. Plus, their Filipino heritage gave both a great deal in common. Jocelyn found herself looking at other women in a whole new way. She sometimes wondered how she had been heterosexual for the first 35 years of her life. Yet, Jocelyn was faced with a series of dilemmas. First was what to do with her marriage to Bill. Jocelyn really did love Bill as a person, but their relationship had been irrevocably changed. Bill had always been good to her and was a loving father to their 3 daughters. Bill was a very understanding man, but Jocelyn hardly thought that he would react well to her affair. Ending their marriage was not very palatable either. If Bill wanted to contest a divorce, Jocelyn faced excellent prospects of losing her 3 children. Florida state laws were not very gay-friendly. It was illegal for gay couples to adopt in the state. Plus, it would be publicly humiliating. Bill did have a very serious form of skin cancer, malignant melanoma. To this date, It had been caught in its earliest stages, and Bill was taking experimental vaccine treatments to prevent its spread. If Bill died, it would give Jocelyn the freedom to do what she wished with her life, but even though she no longer loved Bill like before, she never wished anything ill to become of him. Jocelyn knew that she could not keep up this affair forever with Alicia. First, because Alicia wanted something more permanent, and secondly, sooner or later, the affair would be discovered. For 2 years, Jocelyn managed to keep the affair secret. One time her daughter Jessica walked into the bedroom. The bedroom door had accidentally left unlocked and discovered Jocelyn in bed with Alicia at a most embarrassing moment. But Jessica, who was 5 at the time, could not pay any heed to it. Jocelyn did attend a picnic of regulars of AL's women's space one time, but since they were all fellow lesbians, her secret was safe. Jocelyn would also talk online sometimes, either in the women's space of AL or in some of the rooms of gay. In just a few years, it seemed that many of her attitudes in life had changed. Then Bill accidentally discovered her relationship with Alicia. Bill didn't say how he had discovered it. Bill just asked what was going on between her and Alicia, and Jocelyn felt that it was no longer possible to keep up the deception. Now, Jocelyn sat crying and despondent. Her marriage was in a crisis stage, and the fault for it was her own. She had hurt terribly the one man she had ever loved, and even with his faults had been a good and loving father and husband. What would she do now? Bill was still angry and upset as he drove his car into the mall parking lot. Most men would probably have gone to a bar and got themselves drunk, but not Bill. Bill rarely touched alcohol, and right now, all he wanted to do was think and let his head clear. It was getting close to closing time at the mall, so parking was ample. Besides, Bill knew some of the better places to park were in the back lots of the mall. Bill parked the car and entered through one of the larger department stores. It was almost 8:30 p.m. when Bill entered the mall, and closing time was at 9 p.m. Bill felt very angry at the betrayal of Jocelyn, but he also felt very sad. He did not know what to do. Jocelyn was unhappy, but they had 3 children to care for. Could he forgive Jocelyn for cheating on him? Bigger question was, could their marriage go on? Jocelyn not just admitted to having an affair with her friend Alicia, but that she really considered herself a lesbian now. How was their relationship to continue if Jocelyn really felt that way? As implausible as Jocelyn's conversion appeared to Bill, he sensed that it was entirely genuine and not an easy decision for Jocelyn either. Even with all that happened, Bill still loved Jocelyn very much and was willing to do anything for her, even now. The current crisis in his marriage seemed unsolvable. Bill admitted to himself that the blame was not entirely Jocelyn's. Sometimes Jocelyn had wanted more attention, and Bill had been too busy with his own interests. Bill was just aimlessly walking through the mall. Not too many people were left. It wasn't the busy season, and the mall was near closing time. Bill was just walking, not going into the shops. Bill had been to the mall regularly and knew most of the stores. Bill spent most of his time when he visited the mall in either the book, video, or computer software stores. After rounding a corner, Bill saw a shop that he realized he had never seen before. The outside was very nondescript, and there was a sign saying spells RS. The name of the store was different. Bill really didn't plan to do any shopping. He only came to the mall to go walking. Out of curiosity, he entered the shop. The interior of the shop was as unspectacular as the outside. Some shelves with scattered items on it, also one counter behind which was a curtain leading to a back room. Bill started to walk towards one of the shelves when an old man walked out of the back room. Bill was surprised that the man appeared to only be dressed in a bathrobe. "Hello." Bill said hello to be courteous. He had no intentions of shopping. "Hello, Bill. Welcome to Spells R Us." The old man's knowing his name spiked Bill's curiosity. He didn't recall meeting him before, but Bill had a poor memory for names and faces. "I am just looking," Bill replied. He actually planned on leaving the shop. Bill saw nothing of apparent value on the shelves. He wondered what the shop sold. "Bill, I may have things that may be of interest to you," the old man said. Bill was still wondering how the old man knew his name. Might as well ask. "How do you know my name?" Bill asked. "I am a wizard," the old man replied. Bill looked at the old man, wondering if he was going senile or had Alzheimer's. A wizard? As in a magician? Bill had an image of one of those corny magic acts he had taken his children to once. The old man knew what Bill was thinking, but took no insult at what Bill said. He knew Bill was troubled and wanted to help him. "No, Bill, I am not a magician. I specialize in magic spells." Bill appeared dumbfounded. He was too old to believe in magic. There is no such thing as magic. "How do you know my name?" Bill asked out of curiosity. "I know your name because I am a wizard." The old man was not losing patience with Bill, unlike some other customers. "I know all about my customers. You are having problems right now with your wife, whose name is Jocelyn." Bill stood there in total disbelief. "I just find it hard to believe." "Most people do." "Now you are having problems with your wife. That is why you came to the mall and how you found my shop," the wizard went on. Bill admitted the problems, telling the old man a short version of the story Jocelyn had told him earlier. The old man seemed to know all that Bill was saying, but listened intently. "There are some women who have come to the same crisis about their sexuality, even after being married many years and having children," the wizard said. "I realized that I never thought this would happen with Jocelyn." Bill further explained why he was so shocked. Jocelyn's upbringing, Catholicism, etc. What she told me was just so shocking to me. I still have trouble believing it. "But you think she was being totally sincere?" "Yes, I do. I still love her very much and don't know what to do," Bill replied. "I may have something that can help you." The wizard turned around and took something off the shelf immediately behind him. It was a small box. The wizard put the box on the counter and opened it for Bill. There was a small pendant in the box. Bill started examining it. "You buy this and wear it. I guarantee that your marital problems will be totally ended," the wizard said. Bill still seemed very disbelieving and would need more convincing. Bill was looking at the pendant very closely. "This is supposed to help me with my marriage?" Bill asked. "Yes, Bill, it will. Just wear it and your current marital problems will all be solved. I guarantee you will be entirely satisfied," the wizard said. "But how is this supposed to work?" Bill still had his doubts. "Remember that I am a wizard. I sell many magical items to my customers," the wizard replied. Bill's doubts were going away gradually. "Okay, so I just wear it and you guarantee that my problems with Jocelyn will all be over." The wizard knew how much Bill loved his wife and his willingness to do anything for her. "Yes, I guarantee it. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back." The old man said that it cost $49.95. "Okay. Do you take credit cards, Visa?" The wizard nodded and Bill took out his wallet and gave the Visa card to the wizard man. Bill waited patiently at the counter while the wizard ran the card through the terminal. He was then given the credit card slip to sign. "How does this pendant work?" Bill asked. "Just go home tonight, put it on around your neck and go to bed with your wife. In the morning, everything will be solved. But you must wear it to bed and sleep in the same bed as your wife," the wizard explained. Bill didn't even know what he planned on doing that evening, but he had nowhere else to go but home. "That is all I have to do?" "Yes. Just follow my instructions and I guarantee you will be satisfied." Bill proceeded to thank the old man, then walked out of the shop. The wizard then returned to the back room. Danny was there cleaning up before they had to close for the night. She had been listening to the conversation Bill had been having with the wizard. "I don't believe the way you treated that man," Danny said. "Why is that?" The wizard replied, "You guaranteed his satisfaction or his money back." "I never heard you say that to another customer. You also seemed so patient with him," Danny explained. "Danny, you still have so very much to learn about what I do. But tonight is almost over, and we need to close the shop," the wizard said. Bill had walked out of the shop, still thinking about the encounter with the old man. Does magic really exist? Bill considered himself well educated and had always considered magic a thing for children. Still, he was having doubts. The old man seemed to know his entire problem, etc., and he could think of no other logical explanation for this, other than magic. This was too outlandish to be someone's idea of a practical joke. An announcement was being made over the public address system, saying the mall would be closing in 5 minutes. Bill hurried to get to the department store before it locked its doors. His car was outside the store, and if he didn't get to the store in time, he would have to take the long walk around. Bill made it to the store in time and then out to his car. He was still not sure what to do and wanted to think and be alone for a while more. He drove to a local sports bar. Bill had never been to one before, being a non-smoker and non-drinker. Still, he sat in the corner for 2 hours, keeping to himself, drinking Coca-Colas and thinking. At 11:30, he decided to drive back home. His encounter with the old man was still in his mind. How could this pendant work? Well, Bill decided to try it when he arrived home. There was no harm, and he had been promised his money back if not satisfied. Bill drove home from the bar, getting home at 11:45. Nobody was awake, so Bill decided to check on the children. Bill and Jocelyn owned a 4-bedroom, 2-bathhouse. Bill and Jocelyn shared the master bedroom. Another bedroom was used as an office computer room, spare bedroom. Guests or Jocelyn's mother used this room till she passed away 2 years earlier. In one of the 2 other bedrooms, Jennybeth had her own room. Bill walked into the room quietly. Jennybeth was asleep. Jennybeth was at a difficult age, not quite a teenager, but very grown up and wanting to be treated as such. Bill and Jocelyn were not quite ready for this. Bill still thought of her as a little girl, like he did with all 3 daughters. Jennybeth also was the closest to the splitting image of her mother. Bill quietly checked in on her, gave her a kiss, and walked out of the bedroom. Bill also checked on Jessica and Elizabeth, who shared a room together. Elizabeth, who was a little over 3, was hugging a teddy bear in the lower berth of a set of bunk beds, while Jessica was asleep in the top bunk. Bill made sure that they were covered by the sheets in their beds and kissed both goodnight. Bill wondered what would happen with his children if the marriage disintegrated. The thought brought tears to his eyes, so Bill walked out of the room and headed towards the master bedroom. The master bedroom was almost pitch black, except for the small light supplied by a nightlight. Emptying his pockets of his car keys and wallet, he took out the small pendant he got at the shop. He wondered how this could possibly solve the marital problems he was currently facing. Still, the old man had convinced him it would and promised to refund his money if it did not. Heck, there was no harm in trying, Bill thought to himself. Bill completed taking all his clothes off before heading towards the bathroom. Bill quietly went into the bathroom and proceeded to use the toilet and brush his teeth, as he did every night before going to bed. After completing those tasks, Bill looked at himself in the mirror. Bill stood there totally naked and knowing he was not a handsome man. Till he had skin cancer, there were many ugly moles all over his slightly overweight body. Some were on his face, and these he always considered particularly unattractive. Because of his skin cancer, Bill convinced his dermatologist to remove most moles he had, including the ones on his face. One of these on his face had been discovered to be in the early stages of malignancy and needed to have a wider excision done. This had been done by a skillful plastic surgeon, but it still left a small scar on his right cheek. Bill wondered how any woman could possibly find him attractive if Jocelyn and he would get a divorce. Jocelyn had been the only woman to ever show an interest in him. Would anyone else be interested in him? If Jocelyn was only sexually attracted to women now, how could their marriage go on? Just for the kid's sake, Bill did not look female in any way, and he sadly joked he was in no condition to be a transsexual. Yeah, that would solve the problem, but he would look like the Frankenstein monster in a dress then, not a pleasant sight. So how would Jocelyn's new attraction be resolved? Bill could see no apparent answers. Bill proceeded into the bedroom, where he walked over to the bedroom dresser and put on a new set of underwear, which he then covered up with a set of pajamas. Jocelyn was lying in bed motionless, Bill not knowing if she was asleep or awake. Probably awake, but like Bill, in no mood for conversation. It was almost midnight, and they would be waking up at 8:00 a.m. tomorrow, as it was a Sunday morning. Since they had gone to vigil service Saturday afternoon, there was no need to go to Mass. Still, they were always early risers. On school mornings, they would wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get everyone off to school, except for Elizabeth, who stayed home with Bill during the day. Bill remembered the instructions from the old man and put the pendant around his neck and climbed into bed. "Hi, honey. I am glad you came home," said Jocelyn. She had been lying in bed, not able to sleep. "Hi. Do you mind if I sleep in the bed?" Bill said half sarcastically. He really didn't want to talk about their problems now. "I am glad you are home." "That isn't the impression I got earlier," Bill replied. "It's the truth," Jocelyn said, almost in tears. She hated fighting with Bill. She had to admit that he had always been a good husband and father. "Talaga?" Bill asked. Talaga was the Waray word for true or truth. Waray was the Filipino dialect. Jocelyn spoke, and Bill knew some of the dialect. "Yes, talaga," Jocelyn replied. "I really still love you. I really don't want to talk much now. Let's talk in the morning," Bill said. "Okay, I love you too," Jocelyn replied. Bill rolled over and went to sleep. The sun was already up that morning when Bill woke from a sound sleep. He looked at the alarm clock. The time said it was just past 7:30. The kids normally liked to sleep in on the weekends, as did Jocelyn. Actually, Jocelyn hated getting up early, and her favorite morning expression was "Mai katorig pa ako," which meant "I want to sleep more." She also disliked being awoken by the alarm clock. Bill rolled over and started to get out of bed. He felt an urge to urinate, so he headed off to the bathroom. Bill felt a little strange this morning, but chalked it off to being still groggy. Bill went to lower his pajama bottoms when he noticed that his clothes were different from the night before. Then he looked at the bathroom mirror. The reflection in the mirror was strange. Bill shook his head and looked again. What he saw was the biggest shock of his life. "What the hell? Sweetie!" Bill yelled, surprised to hear the voice was of a higher pitch than his normally deep bass. Jocelyn rolled over at the sound of the scream. It was the pet nickname given to her by Bill. She immediately got out of bed to investigate. To her shock, she found an equally shocked woman in her bathroom and no sign of her husband. "Who are you?" Jocelyn said to the woman she had never seen before. Like herself, she appeared to be a 30-ish Asian woman, probably of Chinese descent, unlike Jocelyn, who is Filipino. She was nearly identical in height and weight to Jocelyn, just a little over 5, one weighing somewhere between 110, 120 elbs. Her hair was quite short but cut in an attractive way. Jocelyn could find this woman very attractive, but she was wondering what she was doing in her house. "Mahal, it's me, Bill," Bill said, using another pet name he had for his wife. he couldn't fail to notice the shocked look on Jocelyn's face, or that the shock seemed to be growing. "You can't be my husband. You are a woman. I don't know how to explain it, but I am your husband." Bill then thought of his meeting with that wizard in the mall the last night. The wizard man had promised a solution to the crisis he was facing in his marriage because of Jocelyn's newfound lesbianism. Was this the solution? Turning him into a woman? Bill decided he needed to convince Jocelyn first that this woman was really her husband. "Maha, you may find it impossible to believe, but I am your husband." Bill went on to mention details about their lives together that only Bill could only know. The shock on Jocelyn's face only grew with every detail. Then Jocelyn finally spoke up. "Honey, it is you. But how could this have happened?" Jocelyn started to cry uncontrollably. "I think I know what happened. Let me try to explain. Let's sit on the bed and let me tell what happened last night when I went out." Bill led Jocelyn over to the bed. Before they could start talking, Elizabeth, their youngest daughter, burst into the room. Elizabeth ran right past Bill to her. "Mother." Like the second woman in the room was nothing unusual. She promptly kissed her mother. "Mommy, I'm hungry. Can Mommy Emily make me some of those pancakes I like?" Both Bill and Jocelyn had incredulous looks on their faces after hearing the words, "Mommy Emily." "Elizabeth, you must ask Da. Mommy Emily if you want pancakes." Jocelyn tried to act as normally as possible, and this took a great deal of self-control. Elizabeth promptly went over to Bill and kissed her. "Mommy, Emily, can you please me pancakes for breakfast this morning?" Bill was as surprised as Jocelyn by Elizabeth's calling him Mommy Emily, like she had always been a woman, not her father. "Sure, Pumpkin. Can you wait outside? Me and your mommy want to talk for a minute?" Bill Emily said. "Sure, Mommy Emily." Elizabeth ran to the door, then closed it behind her. "How could this be happening?" Jocelyn said. She had stopped crying when Elizabeth entered the room and was having great difficulty preventing them now. Elizabeth acted like nothing has happened. "She called you Mommy Emily. It's difficult to explain. But when I went out last night, I went to the mall and visited this shop." Emily pointed to the pendant that was still around his neck. "An old man in this shop sold me this pendant, saying it was magical and it would solve our marital problems." Emily explained, "I had no idea this would happen to me. Well, it did work, sort of. You are very cute." Jocelyn half laughed. It was true, she found her transformed husband extremely attractive. She was wondering if all of this was some kind of weird dream which she would awake from in any minute. "I believe what you are saying, even though it sounds totally incredible. I think we better act as normal as possible. You and me can talk some more lately on. Elizabeth is awake now, and surely Jessica and Jenny Beth will be up soon too," Emily said. "Yes, we can talk later. We need to start preparing breakfast now for the kids." Jocelyn said, "I need to use the bathroom for a minute. Can you go outside and start getting ready in the kitchen?" "I will be right out," Emily asked. Okay. Jocelyn really wanted to have a long talk with Emily, but first things first, she went out into the living room, closing the bedroom door on the way out. Emily walked back into the bathroom and went over to the toilet. She pulled up the yellow nightgown she was wearing, and to his further surprise, she discovered she was still wearing boxer shorts. Her other clothes had changed to fit his new body. What woman wore boxer shorts? Well, Emily had little time to wonder about that question. She dropped her boxer shorts down and quickly found that there was not his usual male equipment down there. It didn't really surprise Emily by now. Nothing could surprise her anymore, considering all that had already happened that morning. She quickly sat down and urinated. After finishing, she wiped herself like she had seen Jocelyn do many times, with a wad of toilet paper. Emily walked out of the bathroom and stopped for a moment in front of the mirror. The face she saw still shocked him now. It was definitely the face of a Chinese or Korean female. The hair was very short for a woman, maybe too short. Still, it was a totally feminine face. Emily wanted to check out her transformed body more, but had promised to come out right away to prepare breakfast. Before leaving the bedroom, Emily slipped a pair of slippers on her feet. They were Jocelyn's. She quickly discovered that she now had the same small feet that Jocelyn had. Emily then walked out of the bedroom and headed over to the kitchen. Jocelyn was pouring milk and juice for everyone. Jessica and Jenny Beth were up now too, and were both trying to wake up. "Hello, Emily," Jenny Beth said. "Hello, Mommy," Jessica said. Emily was hardly surprised by the normal reaction of both her daughters. Nothing was surprising her by now. All three daughters were acting like they had never known her as their father, but as someone named Emily. Emily, however, noticed that Jenny Beth referred to her as Emily, while Jessica called him Mommy and Elizabeth Mommy. Emily. It may be because of the difference in their ages. Another thing for Emily to talk and figure out with Jocelyn when they could. "What does everyone want for breakfast?" Emily asked, as if it was any typical morning. Jessica and Elizabeth replied pancakes, while Jenny Beth asked for cereal. "Sweetie, I will prepare the pancakes while you get the cereal for Jenny Beth." Emily and Jocelyn proceeded to prepare and cook breakfast for everyone. Jocelyn mumbled something to Emily about how all three children were acting as if things were just like any other day. After finishing cooking, Emily served pancakes for herself, Jessica and Elizabeth, while Jocelyn and Jenny Beth had cereal together. Breakfast went on like it did most mornings. The kids were engaging in small talk while Jocelyn and Emily tried reading the newspaper while talking with the kids. It was obvious that Jenny Beth was already interested in boys. She would talk about them or about the time she spent with her best friend Rachel. Jocelyn regularly complained that Jenny Beth spent most of her free time over at Rachel's home, 2 blocks from where they lived. Jenny Beth had mentioned that she wasn't interested in any picnic. Jocelyn recalled planning on attending a picnic with Alicia. It was for the local regulars of Isles Women's Space. It was now a 2-time-a-year occurrence. Emily knew nothing of the picnic. Actually, Jocelyn was unsure of even attending till last Friday night. Elizabeth had been running a fever. She now seemed to feeling fine, but would Emily want to go? Jocelyn tried to explain to Emily what the picnic was. It's for the local regulars from Ailes Women's Space. Most of the women bring their partners if they have one and their children. Emily had just recently discovered that the women's space was a room for lesbians on America Online, and that Jocelyn had been going online in that room for some time. "Maybe it would be better if I go back to that shop in the mall. I think that is more important right now." "Well, the picnic is only today. We could always go to the shop for the return tomorrow." Jocelyn was already having doubts if she was so eager to have her husband back to his normal self so soon. "Let's discuss it later." Okay. Emily really didn't want to stay female any longer than he had to. The old wizard had promised her money back if she wasn't satisfied. Being turned into a woman was not her wish. Emily noticed some rather subtle changes around the kitchen and the immediate area. The bookshelf in the hallway near the kitchen did not have the usual massive collection of videotapes that Bill had assembled through the years. Instead, there were fewer tapes and more knickknacks, as Bill referred to them. What was stranger was a picture on the kitchen wall. It was until yesterday a picture of Emily as her male self with Jocelyn and the children while attending Disney World about a year ago. Now, the picture showed Emily in her current form. The rest of the picture was the same. Emily was coming to the conclusion that whatever magic that wizard had performed not just changed her, but most of her current reality also. In the new reality, she was an Asian lesbian female who was Jocelyn's partner. Emily wondered what other changes there would be in this reality. After everyone had finished breakfast, Emily helped Jocelyn clear the table of the dirty dishes and then wash them. While this was being done, the kids went into the living room and were watching television. Jenny Beth had asked to talk to Emily, but she asked if they could talk a little later so that she could talk with her mother about some important matters. Once breakfast was all cleaned up, Emily and Jocelyn walked out into the living room. "We need to have a private conversation for a short time. We will go in the bedroom to have it. Please only come in the room if it's important." The kids all nodded, so Emily and Jocelyn walked into the master bedroom and closed the door. "Now that we are alone, can you now explain how you got like this?" Jocelyn asked Emily. Emily proceeded to explain his trip to the mall last night, after their fight and the visit to the little shop and the old man. Jocelyn listened very intently to the entire story. She had never believed in magic or wizards, but there was evidence of both standing and sitting next to her on the bed. Emily explained how she told the old man how that, no matter what she had done, she still loved her and wished that there were any way possible to save their marriage, he would do it. This brought tears to Jocelyn's eyes. Emily had always treated her like a queen, and she regretted that she ever had betrayed him. "The wizard said this pendant would do this?" Jocelyn asked. It appeared to just be a plain pendant with the image of a woman on one side. "He said it would solve our marital problems. He didn't say it would do this to me," Emily said, pointing at herself. "Do you mind if I see you without the clothes?" Jocelyn was more than a little curious to see the changes. "Do I have to?" Emily was embarrassed at her new body, even with his wife. Then he thought that she was showing himself to his wife. "Okay?" "I will," Emily said, and he then started to take off her clothes. Jocelyn watched as her husband took off her clothes to reveal an attractive naked Asian female. His breasts were approximately her own size, 32. Jocelyn had to suppress a giggle when she saw that Bill was wearing a set of boxer trunks. Since Emily had admitted to not changing any clothes since the change, Jocelyn found this the most interesting. Jocelyn said, "You know, between the short hair and the boxers, you must be a butch lesbian." Emily asked what a butch lesbian was supposed to be. Jocelyn explained that many lesbians considered themselves either femme or butch, and what those definitions meant. Emily just listened without commenting. She didn't want to be any kind of lesbian, whether it was butch or femme. Emily completed her task by taking off her boxer shorts. Jocelyn wasn't surprised to find that Bill's male anatomy beneath the waist had been changed into a female form. Her buttocks were now amply round. Jocelyn couldn't help finding her transformed husband very sexy in her new form. A smile came to Jocelyn's face, which she tried to suppress, but too late for Emily noticing. "You really seem to enjoy this." Emily stood there naked in front of her. "Well, I did say you were cute," Jocelyn admitted. Emily blushed at Jocelyn's comment. "Well, you can't wear a nightgown all day. You should be able to wear some of my clothes." Emily said she didn't wish to wear women's clothes, but Jocelyn explained that his old clothes would hardly fit him now. Jocelyn took Emily over to the closet, where they discovered that Bill's entire male wardrobe was entirely gone. Most of the clothes now were women's pants and jeans, with blouses and t-shirts. Jocelyn noted that the only dresses or skirts in the closet were her own, so Emily's wardrobe was typical of a lesbian who considered herself a butch. Emily just picked a simple t-shirt and jeans. Jocelyn decided it was not worth fighting about, but recommended that Emily wear a bra. Emily at first relented but decided it was necessary. Tossing the boxer shorts, she had awoken in the dirty laundry. Bill opened a dresser drawer. Inside, there was a large supply of 32 bras, boxer shorts, mixed in with a few panties and women's socks. Bill put on the boxer shorts and jeans. Jocelyn watched as Bill placed the bra on. She had offered to help, but Emily had declined. It was obvious that it was a painful experience for her to have to wear one. "The wizard said this magic can be reversed?" Jocelyn inquired. She really could get used to Emily, but had no wish to force her. "Yes. He said if I wasn't satisfied, he would reverse the spell and refund my money." Emily explained she paid 40. $9.95 for it plus sales tax. Emily had completed dressing and now was wearing the clothes she had picked out of the closet. I really don't want to have to stay this way any longer than I need to. The mall opens at 11 a.m. You sure you don't wish to try this for a while? I really find you very irresistible the way you are now. Jocelyn could see that Emily appeared very uncomfortable with her last comments. It was readily apparent she did not like being a woman. Jocelyn was standing very close to her and reached over and kissed him on the lips. At first, Emily hesitated but began to kiss her back. Didn't that feel good? Jocelyn asked while she smiled at Emily and noticed that Emily was smiling back. Well, it was different, Emily admitted. Different. You were smiling afterwards. You had to enjoy it. Yes, I enjoyed it. Emily admitted it and smiled at Jocelyn. It made her feel so different in places she never felt before. It was a good feeling too. She had to admit that even as a woman he found Jocelyn. Emily was looking at Jocelyn when she noticed that on the desk in their bedroom was a purse instead of her wallet. I'd like to look at that purse. When the wizard cast this spell, he changed reality too, it seems. My wallet should show my name and birthday. Jocelyn agreed, curious to find out herself also. Emily opened the purse and found all the usual female stuff found in a purse: lipstick, compact, house and car keys, tissue, and her wallet. Emily opened the wallet and looked at the driver's license. As expected, the driver's license was for her new body. The name was shown as an Emily Wong, and the birthday given was June 8, 1963. This made Emily slightly over 2 years younger than she used to be, but less than 2 years younger than Jocelyn. I wonder what else has changed, Jocelyn remarked. I think I better make sure to call you Emily from now on till you get your old body back. Or maybe you would like to try living as a woman for a while. You could learn some things that no other man has ever known. Emily frowned at Jocelyn. No, I prefer to get back to my old self, but I agree. I would like to check in the house office and see what else has changed. I think it's time we get back to the kids anyway, Emily replied. Yes, I agree. Let me see what you find, Jocelyn said. I am going to do some checking of my own while watching the girls. Emily agreed, but Jocelyn gave her a parting kiss before they left the bedroom together. Jocelyn joined the children who were watching cartoons on television while Emily headed over to the office. The office was still very much the same, a desk with a computer with a printer fax copier, scanner attached on one side, and a couch with a pull-out bed on the other side of the room. There, however, were some subtle changes. Gone were all the history books Bill used to read. While there were still books there, they were more of the romance variety. Then the posters that used to be on the walls were gone also. The desk was neatly ordered unlike it usually was, while Emily was male, and next to the desk was a large file cabinet with a desk tray, a small flower vase, and 2 photo frames on top. The photos drew Emily's immediate attention. The first one was of Jocelyn with Jenny Beth and Elizabeth. The second was of her new self with Jessica. In the old office, there was one of Jocelyn with all 3 kids together, so why was it now 2 separate photos? Emily decided to open the file cabinet and find out what changes there were to her old life. Emily started by checking bank and brokerage statements. She wasn't surprised to discover that their formerly joint husband and wife checking accounts were now in the names of Jocelyn Matthews and Emily Wong. This made Emily curious. Why would Jocelyn still have his last name if she weren't a man now? So Emily went further into the file cabinet, pulling out the file that contained many of the family's personal documents. Before starting to open the file, Emily stopped to think. She was thinking of how Jocelyn reacted to her being female now. Jocelyn really seemed to be so happy about her being Emily now. Was she willing to make the sacrifice of being Emily to save her marriage? She really had no wish to be Emily the rest of her life. But how about for just a short time? Maybe this was what the wizard intended. The wizard said there was no time limit, so if she wished to return the pendant, all she need do was to return to the shop. Emily decided she would try this if Jocelyn would agree. Emily sat there thinking of this, just staring at Jocelyn and the children's photos on the desk for several minutes before returning to the file. For safekeeping's sake, Bill and Jocelyn had a safety deposit box at a local bank. However, they did retain copies of many important documents in the file cabinet. Inside the file were copies of the children's birth certificates, Jocelyn's naturalization certificate, etc. There also was one document that should be missing: their wedding papers. Emily was surprised to still find it there, but she noticed two other things. One was concerning one of the children's birth certificates. Then the other document, she was something he totally didn't expect. Emily was about to call for Jocelyn to come to the office when Jenny Beth stuck her head in and asked if they could talk. Emily said, "Sure." So Jenny Beth entered. "Emily, I hope you can help me with Mom," Jenny Beth said. "I will try, but I won't make any promises," Emily replied. Emily had always been very close to Jenny Beth. She had very much been a daddy's girl. Now their relationship seemed to be more like a big sister relationship. "Mom is always complaining I spend too much time over at Rachel's. I don't want to go to that picnic either today," Jenny Beth said. "Well, your mom does have a point. You spend more time over there than you do here with her." Agreed. Jenny Beth was at a difficult stage, wanting to be treated like someone older than she really was, and her mother was obviously not prepared for this. Neither was Emily, to be honest. She still thought of her as her little girl. Jenny Beth appeared disappointed at Bill's reply. "Yes, we do. But she is my best friend. Why don't you bring her here? You two can go to the room together," Emily asked. "Elizabeth and Jessica won't leave us alone if we stay here," Jenny Beth said. "Rachel has her own room and her only brother or sister is in college." Emily understood where Jenny Beth was coming from. She quickly came up with a suggestion. "I will have a word with Jessica and Elizabeth about leaving you alone if Rachel is over the house. I will also talk to your mother too. I know you want to have your privacy too." Jenny Beth's face brightened up immediately. "You will talk to Mom and Jessica and Elizabeth about it?" "Yes, but start bringing Rachel over to the house more often," Emily replied. "You aren't bringing Rachel over? Doesn't have something to do about me and your mother?" Jenny Beth appeared very embarrassed for a moment before replying. No, that isn't the problem. Rachel and I both think you and Mother are so cool." Being called cool brought a smile to Emily's face. "I barely remember Daddy. He died when I was 5. That brought an issue that Emily would have to bring up with Jocelyn. "Well, I can't replace your father, and I'm not your mother either." Emily could see that Jenny Beth understood what he was saying. "I can be your friend, however. I promise to talk to Mom and your sisters about your problem. It will get taken care of. Now send your mother back in so we can talk." Jocelyn had started to come in the room but saw that Emily and Jenny Beth were having a little chat, so she left. Emily noticed that she was carrying some photo albums. Emily already had an idea as to what those albums may contain. "Emily, do I have to attend that picnic today?" "I'd rather go over to Rachel's house." "We want to just discuss girl stuff," Jenny Beth asked. "Oh, girl stuff like boys." Jenny Beth blushed for a moment. Emily knew that Jenny Beth was already looking at boys. Emily wished she was older, but what could be done? "Well, I will bring that up with your mother also." Jenny Beth gave Emily a kiss and left the room. Emily sat there thinking for a few moments till Jocelyn returned to the room. "I got some things to show you," Jocelyn replied. "What were you and Jenny Beth discussing behind my back?" "Oh, just girl talk." This comment brought a smile to Jocelyn's face. Emily went on to explain the conversation they had. Emily also said what she recommended. Well, seems Jenny can still wrap you around her little finger. Some things don't change. Emily and Jocelyn both laughed at this. Jocelyn agreed that this was the best compromise and they would make sure that Jessica and Elizabeth would comply too. I got some things to show you. I hope it don't upset you, Emily said. Emily thought by Jocelyn's expression that she had already discovered the same thing she had. First things, my new birth certificate. It showed that an Emily May Wong had been born in Santa Clara, California on June 8, 1963. Emily was of Chinese descent. Emily had also discovered that he was an only child and that both his parents had died in 1985. I thought you were Chinese. You don't look Filipino at all, Jocelyn commented. There is more. It is about you and me, sort of. Emily was a little hesitant at bringing this change up, but it was unavoidable. I know you died almost 6 years ago, Jocelyn said. Emily had discovered her own death certificate. Bill had died in an auto accident back just before Christmas 1990. It didn't upset Emily, but he wondered about Jocelyn's reaction. Well, a lot of things are different. You gave birth to Jessica too, Jocelyn added. Yes, that was the second surprise Emily had come across. Emily May Wong had given birth to Jessica Lynn Wong on May 21, 1993. Jocelyn showed Emily some baby photos of Jessica, with Emily and some photos taken while Emily had been pregnant with Jessica. Wow, I got huge, Emily said, Jocelyn laughing along with her. Does this bother you any? Emily asked. No, not at all. I got a few clues at the breakfast table. You are really one of her parents anyway, Jocelyn replied. I wonder how you got pregnant with Jessica or how I had Elizabeth about 3 years ago. Emily already pretty much had the answer. There was another file in the cabinet that he only briefly glanced at. Well, seems me. Or Emily has never been married but went to a fertility specialist and was artificially inseminated. That accounts for Jessica. As to Elizabeth, it seems that Bill or me had some sperm frozen before passing away. You used it to have Elizabeth. All these changes were almost too much for Jocelyn, who was on the verge of tears. Do you want me to call Lisa to come over while we go to the mall? Jocelyn asked. It was 10? And the mall would be opening in an hour. Lisa was the neighbor girl they regularly used as a babysitter. Emily thought for a few moments. Maybe that wizard had a reason for doing this. I really do love you very, and I'm willing to forgive you for what you did. She really could see the tears rolling down Jocelyn's cheeks. I don't want to lose you. I have no one but you and the girls. I love you too. I'm sorry for what I did, Jocelyn said between the sobs. But you still feel mostly attracted to other women still? Emily asked. It was a question that still needed to be asked. Yes, but I'd rather not hurt you or the children. I will do whatever it takes to make sure it won't happen again, Jocelyn said with total sincerity. I know I have done some things wrong and didn't pay all the attention to you that you needed. It wasn't all your fault. I am to blame too. Emily got up from the desk chair and sat next to Jocelyn on the couch in the office. The tears were still streaming down Jocelyn's face. I want to make it up to you, Emily said. No, it's not necessary, Jocelyn said through the tears. Then the phone rang. Emily reached over and answered it. Thought Emily, the phone always seemed to ring at the wrong time. Hello, Emily said. Hello, Emily. How are you and the gang doing? It was Alicia. Everyone is fine, Bill replied. Well, the wizard really cast some spell. Everyone thinks of me as Emily, she thought. Are you and Jocelyn coming with the girls to the picnic this afternoon? Alicia asked. Jocelyn said you girls were unsure because Elizabeth was sick. Elizabeth had been running a temperature due to a virus last Thursday and Friday, but was better now. Jocelyn was asking who called. Emily said, Alicia. A frown appeared on Jocelyn's face. Emily seemed to think that Jocelyn was looking forward to the picnic. Yes, we will be there. What time is it starting? Emily asked. He saw that Jocelyn had a surprised look on her face. Alicia said it would start at 2 p.m. And where it would be, Emily said they would be there sometime around 3 p.m. After that, Emily said goodbye to Alicia and hung up the phone. You want to go to the picnic? Jocelyn asked. Emily could tell that she was very surprised. Yes, I do. I think it will be nice for us to have a good time with the kids, Emily said, then hesitated for a few seconds. Jocelyn, I've been thinking. Would you have a problem if I stayed as Emily for a while? Maybe just a few days? Jocelyn looked the most surprised since discovering her transformed husband earlier this morning. No, I wouldn't. But why? I thought if I stayed female for a short time, it might give me the insight to help us in our marriage. This was just such a unique opportunity. Emily could see that Jocelyn was so happy at what Bill was saying and thinking. Emily further explained that maybe this was the intention of the wizard, that his time as Emily would allow them to grow closer again. There's no harm. The wizard said I could return the pendant any time, Emily replied. Emily then gave Jocelyn a passionate kiss. Well, this does have some great fringe benefits. Jocelyn and Emily laughed, then kissed again. Maybe you will like being Emily so much, you won't want to return to being male. Jocelyn fantasized this, but knew it was totally unrealistic. No, I think I'd like to be a man again, Emily said, but thought this could be fun for a short time. Emily suggested that they go back out to the living room and spend time with the girls. Oh, there is one last photo album I want to show you. Look at these. Emily opened the album and discovered they were photos of a commitment ceremony Emily and Jocelyn had together. It was done at a local Christian church. One thing immediately grabbed Emily's attention. Hey, I never saw a woman before in a tuxedo before. Emily laughed. As Emily, he really looked funny wearing one. Jocelyn laughed with him. I didn't even wear one as a man when we got married. We were so broke. That is because you are a butch. The butch wears the suit and the femme wears the dress. Jocelyn explained. Then women who are butch really want to be men? Emily asked. No, not really, but I met some butches that probably should be guys. It's much more complicated than that. Jocelyn attempted to explain, but it only tended to confuse Emily more. Well, at the picnic you will learn more about the differences between femme and butch. They quickly finished looking through the photos. The ceremony had taken place 2 years previous, with both Jenny Beth and Jessica participating as Ring Girl and Flower Girl, respectively, and Elizabeth was still an infant. Emily did not recognize many of the faces in the photos. Jocelyn pointed out that they were mostly her gay friends, and she would meet them later that day. Emily and Jocelyn decided to leave the office and spent the rest of the morning with the girls watching television or reading a book. Emily always enjoyed the quiet family time with his girls, and it was no different now that she was a woman. Jocelyn and Emily took turns using the bathroom while the other one stayed with the children. Emily did the usual things that she did in the bathroom, brush her teeth, etc., but she had no need for shaving. On the other hand, Emily decided not to use any makeup. She had no experience in using it in any case. Still a little shocked from her transformation, Emily did not do any more than a cursory examination of herself. Emily had to admit she was now an attractive woman, but the way her hair was cut, etc., she did not look that terribly feminine. The rest of her body was totally female, but one thing caught Emily's curiosity. Emily still had short fingernails. Emily knew most women took pride in the nails, but his were now very different from when she was male. Emily decided to skip the shower for now and take one in the evening. So Emily returned to the living room. For most of the next few hours, Emily sat on the couch while the children watched the shows on the Cartoon Network. For much of this time, Jessica sat next to or in Emily's lap. They engaged in small talk while Jessica watched the cartoons. Emily soon realized that Jessica was behaving the same way she had used to with Jocelyn. Jessica had always been more of a mommy's girl, and Emily now was enjoying the experience of the bonding between mother and daughter. Jocelyn was watching all this quietly. The transformation of her husband had been shocking initially, but in only a short time she had grown quite used to it. Jocelyn had always loved Bill as a person. She had just lost total sexual interest in him. Now that he was a female, Jocelyn was again very attracted to him. Bill may have been a male, but in most ways he was a very gentle soul, not a macho man in any way. This Jocelyn had always found most appealing about him. Jocelyn thought he could be an equally gentle as a woman, and so far, Emily was exactly that. Too bad Emily wished to be male again. Jocelyn could be very content with him now. The children all loved their mommy, Emily. Even the change to being the mother of Jessica didn't bother her. Jocelyn actually enjoyed watching Emily interacting with Jessica as a mother. As Jocelyn and most mothers knew, there were few stronger bonds than between mother and child. It comes from having a life grow inside you for 9 months and then nursing the child when young. Bill would have made a good mother, Jocelyn thought to herself. A little after 12, the entire family sat down and ate lunch together. The children ate sandwiches, while Jocelyn ate a banana and Emily ate a hot dog. Emily soon discovered that she didn't find the hot dogs she usually ate as a male, as appetite as big. Once lunch was cleaned up, Emily helped Jocelyn put Elizabeth and Jessica in bed for an afternoon nap, while Jenny Beth went to her room. Emily and Jocelyn had agreed it was okay for Jenny Beth to skip the picnic, but had required that she have her homework completed before leaving for Rachel's house. Finally, Emily and Jocelyn were going to have some time to themselves. Once the bedroom door was closed, Jocelyn wrapped her arms around Emily and kissed her. Emily pulled back, though she was enjoying it. "Sweetie, what if the kids walk in on us?" Jocelyn didn't say anything. She just reached over and made sure the bedroom door was locked. "None of this seems to bother you." "Like no big deal, your husband turned into a woman," Emily remarked. He could tell by Jocelyn's actions what she wanted to do next. "Let's just say I don't mind," Jocelyn said between the kisses. "You really are gay now." Emily said it was more a remark than a question. "Take all your clothes off for me, and I will give you my answer." Jocelyn smiled at her. It wasn't unusual for them to have sex on a weekday afternoon. For some couples it was. They just always made sure the door was shut. The timing didn't surprise Emily. She just wasn't sure if she was ready yet. "When I go back to being a man, are you going to stay faithful to me?" Emily asked. Jocelyn looked a little hurt by the question, but it was a fair question considering Jocelyn's recent behavior. "Yes, I promise I will. I really mean it," Jocelyn said. She knew Emily might need some convincing. "I just thought we might just enjoy some girl while we could." Emily was still wavering. "I just don't know if I am ready. I don't know what to do either." Jocelyn laughed and kissed her again. "Don't be silly. You are doing fine so far." Emily was still unsure. "But I don't have my, you know what?" "You are so silly. Girls don't have that thing. Besides, there are plenty of ways for two girls to enjoy one another," Jocelyn said. Emily really knew that Jocelyn wanted this very badly, and he always had a tough time saying no to her. "Okay? If you really want to." Emily had little doubt that Jocelyn would really want to. "We better get started. The kids will get up and we have the picnic to go to." Jocelyn kissed Emily again and then smiled. "Thank you. I really am looking forward to this." Emily realized she was getting very aroused. Jocelyn stopped kissing her and led her over to the bed, where they both laid in bed, and the kissing started again. An hour later, Jocelyn and Bill were laying in bed together. Bill lay in bed awake while Jocelyn was sleeping. Till about 30 minutes ago, they had been passionately making love to one another. Actually, Bill thought it was Jocelyn making love to him mostly, as Bill was new to everything and allowed Jocelyn to take the lead. This she had done with great enthusiasm for 30 minutes as she sucked and licked Bill thoroughly. This all seemed like one very weird dream, but a very enjoyable one, Bill thought. Under Jocelyn's leadership, he had climaxed on multiple occasions. God, it felt good, Bill thought as he smiled. Bill didn't fail to realize that Jocelyn was also thoroughly enjoying herself, also having climaxes, although Bill was mostly a passive participant. Still, it was an extremely pleasurable experience. Bill thought if this was the cause of Jocelyn's conversion from heterosexuality to homosexuality, probably not the main cause, but still one of the reasons Bill concluded. It was probably a great deal more complex than that. Bill was still lying in bed, thinking when Jocelyn woke up. She rolled over and kissed Bill on the back of his neck and then cupped his breasts with her hands as she cozied up her body to his. "Hi, lover girl," Jocelyn giggled. "Hi, how did you sleep?" Bill was having a hard time concentrating. Jocelyn was playing with his nipples, which was arousing him. "Very good. You made me feel so good before going to sleep." Jocelyn smiled. Jocelyn's rubbing of his nipples was really driving Bill crazy. "Could you please stop rubbing my nipples? You are driving me nuts. You used to do the same to me." Jocelyn laughed. "I could suck them instead if you want," Jocelyn said as Bill turned around to face her. "Please no, that is worse." "Worse?" Jocelyn pretended to pout. Bill smiled back. "You know what I mean. You enjoyed it. See, there is other ways to make love to a woman. I will make a lesbian out of you yet." Jocelyn smiled. "I did enjoy it, but I am not ready to go that far," Bill replied. It had been a good time, but Bill still wanted to get back to his male body. The idea of having a period scared the hell out of him. The alarm clock was reading a little after 2 p.m., so Bill continued, "I think we ought to get rolling if we plan on making that picnic. No sense in getting there too early." "No, but we need to get the kids ready and drop Jenny Beth off at Rachel's house. Plus, we need to get dressed," Bill said, "so we might as well start now." Bill gave one last kiss to Jocelyn before rolling out of bed to head to the bathroom. After getting dressed and using the bathroom, Jocelyn and Bill then got Jessica and Elizabeth ready for the picnic. Since it was a warm summer day, everyone wore pants with either a t-shirt or blouse. Once everyone was dressed, they loaded up into Jocelyn's Nissan Pathfinder for the drive. They dropped Jenny Beth off at Rachel's house before heading off to the park. It took 15 minutes to get to the park, so Jocelyn, Emily, and the children pulled into the park at close to 3:30 p.m. There were about 10 cars around and already close to a dozen adults, plus a few small children there. They had reserved a small portico area in the park, complete with a barbecue area to cook food. Jocelyn had volunteered to bring along some diet soft drinks, so after getting out of the car, Emily and Jocelyn took the bags out of the trunk and led the kids over to the portico. "I forgot something," Emily remarked. "What did you forget?" Jocelyn inquired. "My hat and sunscreen." Emily had always been very careful outdoors since her malignant melanoma diagnosis. She rarely liked to go out at this time of the day in the strong Florida sun, and if she did, she always wore sunscreen and a sun visor. "Do you want to go home, or do you want me to go?" Jocelyn started to ask. Then she thought of something else. "Well, you are different now. Maybe it won't matter." Because of their different skin pigmentation, skin cancer was significantly lower in Asians than for Caucasians. "I don't know." Emily was not sure what to do. She thought Jocelyn may be right, and she really didn't want to have to make the whole trip back home. There was a drugstore about 5 minutes away if she wished to get sunscreen. Well, it's up to you, Jocelyn answered. Might as well stay. I might be okay, as you said. We're probably only staying till 6 or so anyway, Emily said. The bags Emily were carrying seemed very heavy. Emily soon realized that she was not as strong as when she was male. Wow, she was a woman now, and she started to appreciate what Jocelyn meant when she said something was too heavy. They stopped at one of the picnic tables to drop off the soda bottles. A 40-or-so-year-old woman with brown curly hair walked up and kissed Emily and Jocelyn, each on both cheeks. Emily soon discovered this was how most of the women there greeted one another. Hey, Emily, long time, no see? How you been? The woman asked. Emily had never seen the woman before, but in this reality, Emily had. Bill was about to say something when Jocelyn saved him the embarrassment of not knowing the woman's name. While this was going on, Elizabeth and Jessica went off to play with some children who were there with their mothers. There were 2 girls and 1 boy, all approximately 5-10 years old. Hello, Joan? How are you? Jocelyn replied. Emily said hello to Joan, also now knowing the woman's name. I been well. My divorce just was finalized last month. Joan went on about her personal life and her marital problems. Emily stood listening for the most part. 2 of the girls who were promising to bring paper cups had to cancel at the last minute. Would you or Emily like to be a dear and run to the store and pick up some more? Joan asked. Sure, I will go. We could use some sunscreen too, Jocelyn volunteered. That will be wonderful. Thanks very much, Joan said. Another couple was driving up to arrive at the park and Joan left to greet them. I don't really know these women. You do? Maybe I should go to the store for the things. Emily said she was hesitant to stay there alone. Oh, you will be fine. Just talk and be natural. Someone needs to watch the kids. Maybe you want to do that, Jocelyn replied. Okay, Emily said. Jocelyn kissed her goodbye and started to walk back to the Pathfinder. Emily was shy because of her new body and not knowing any of the women there, so she decided to sit at one of the picnic table benches. It enabled her to have a good view of the children while they played. The children were running around playing with a soccer ball. Emily just sat there quietly until someone spoke to him. Hello, what is your name? Mine is Tanya. She was a tall, attractive African-American woman, approximately 30 years old. Hello, I'm Emily. Tanya motioned if Emily minded if she sat down on the other end of the bench from her. Emily didn't mind, and Tanya promptly took a seat. Tanya started making small talk about the weather, etc. Even though Emily was not really in the mood to talk, she soon started talking with her. Tanya had noticed Emily watching the children carefully. Are any of the kids yours? Tanya asked. Yes. Emily pointed to Jessica and Elizabeth. Their names are Elizabeth and Jessica. Jessica is 7 and Elizabeth is 3. Oh, they are both pretty girls. They look like their mother, Tanya commented. Emily smiled at the compliment. Thank you, Emily said. I always wanted to have a baby. I don't know if I ever will. You are so lucky. Emily thanked Tanya again. He was coming to the conclusion that Tanya was trying to flirt with him. She was smiling at Emily. God, it must be tough for many gay people. If they wanted children, it was expensive to have artificial insemination techniques. Emily decided to discreetly change subjects. What work do you do? Emily asked. I am a sales representative for an insurance company. How about you? Tanya asked. For the last 3 years, Emily had been working out of the house. What this mostly consisted of was investing in the stock market. Emily had done very well in that time, allowing her to pay off the mortgage on the house and a car loan. Emily Jocelyn and the children lived rather comfortably. Jenebeth and Jessica both attended private school, while Emily stayed home, caring for Elizabeth. Jocelyn worked as a receptionist, where they got their health insurance coverage. Other than that, Emily was working on a novel for the previous year. She had some poetry published over 10 years ago, and once the novel was finished, she hoped to find a publisher. "I am a writer," Emily said. Tanya was about to comment when Emily noticed that Elizabeth had stopped playing with the other kids and had come running up to her. "Mommy, I need to go to the bathroom," Elizabeth said. It appeared rather urgent to Emily. Elizabeth had only recently been potty trained and still had occasional accidents. "Okay, Pumpkin." Emily noticed that the park restroom facilities were approximately 150 yards away. It would probably be quickest if she carried her, particularly if Elizabeth was in a hurry. "Tanya, do you mind if you watch the kids while I take Elizabeth to the girls' room?" Emily asked. "No, not at all. Go ahead," Tanya said with envious eyes. Emily picked Elizabeth up and started in the direction of the restrooms. Emily stopped quickly on the way and told Joan where she and Elizabeth were going in case Jocelyn returned in their absence. Emily and Elizabeth trekked off to the restrooms. It was a bright, sunny Florida day. Emily didn't seem to feel the heat like she did as a man. Her body was definitely different in many subtle ways. In these temperatures, when she was still male, she would be perspiring very heavily. Soon, Emily and Elizabeth were approaching the restrooms, which were in a portico area with the men's and women's rooms being on opposite sides. Emily absent-mindedly started heading towards the men's side before altering course to the women's room. Just before arriving, Emily noticed a sand-colored Pathfinder going through the park's parking lot. Emily assumed that Jocelyn must have been just getting back from the store. Emily entered the ladies' room, with Elizabeth still in her arms, which by now were getting quite tired from Elizabeth's weight. The ladies' room appeared little different than a men's room, except for the obvious absence of urinals. The restroom was not as clean as Emily would have wished, but she had little choice. No one was around, but Emily was still being alert and careful. There were news reports of lewd activity in some of this park's men's rooms several years back. In any case, Elizabeth still needed help to use the toilet because of her height. Emily and Elizabeth entered one of the stalls with Emily closing the door behind them. "Okay, Pumpkin, what do you need to do?" Emily asked. "I got to potty." Emily instantly helped her to lower the clothes and underwear she wearing and placed Elizabeth on the toilet. She then waited while Elizabeth did her business. Once Elizabeth was completed, he helped Elizabeth wipe herself and get her clothes back on properly. They exited the stall and went to one of the sinks. First, Emily washed her hands thoroughly and then lifted Elizabeth up so she could wash her hands under the running water. After drying their hands, they left the restrooms. Emily and Elizabeth started their way back to area where the AL group was meeting. This time, however, she let Elizabeth do it under her own power since there was no urgency. Elizabeth ran as fast as her small feet would take her. She wanted to get back to her friends. Emily kept a brisk pace behind her. On the way, she noticed that Jocelyn had indeed arrived. She was also talking to Tanya at the same bench where Emily had just been minutes prior. Elizabeth rejoined her sister and other friends who were still running around playing with the soccer ball. Emily walked up and gave a small kiss to Jocelyn and asked how she was and if she got what was needed. Jocelyn said she had. Tanya then spoke up. "I didn't know you were Jocelyn's partner. I had spoken a few times with Jocelyn and totally forgotten your name. I'm so sorry." "Nothing to apologize for. I'm terrible with names too," Emily replied. Emily already knew that Jocelyn had met most of the women here, or, in a few cases like Tanya, had spoken online with them. "How long you two been together?" Tanya asked. "Been living together since 1996. But we had a commitment ceremony in 1998, Jocelyn answered. "You two are so lucky," Tanya commented, "I never been able to meet the right woman. Spent 3 years married. That was a total waste." Emily and Jocelyn continued to talk with Tanya, and eventually more women started showing up for the picnic. Eventually, they decided to mingle with the others. For the next few hours, Jocelyn and Emily mingled with the other women. Emily did not know any of the women's names, but most were familiar with Jocelyn, so they knew hers. She mostly kept the conversation to small talk. She was still not used to being a woman and felt very awkward and insecure. It was getting close to 5:30, and Emily, Jocelyn, and the kids were grabbing a bite to eat. By this time, there were over 30 women there with 11 children. "Are you having a good time?" Jocelyn asked. "Okay," Emily said, sort of hesitantly. "What is the problem?" Jocelyn knew something was bothering Emily. "It's just I'm not used to this." The kids were there, and Emily was trying to act like she had always been a female in front of them. "It isn't anything personal with anyone here. I just feel so awkward." "I understand. It's been a difficult day," Jocelyn said. "We can go home after we finished eating." "I'd like to do that." Emily smiled back at Jocelyn. After they finished eating, Jocelyn and Emily excused themselves and said goodbye to all the women there. They got back in the Pathfinder and headed home. Jocelyn did the driving while Emily called Jenny Beth to tell her they were on the way home. After stopping to pick up Jenny Beth, they arrived home at almost 6:30 p.m. Bedtime for Elizabeth and Jessica were soon approaching, and both needed to take baths. So Jocelyn took Elizabeth to the master bedroom's bath, and Emily and Jessica went to the other bathroom. Once both girls had their baths, both girls were put to bed. Jennifer, because of her age, was allowed to stay up later, so she watched television with her parents. Just after 9 p.m., Jocelyn and Emily were the last people awake in the house and had retired to the bedroom. Since Jennifer and Jessica must be at school by 8 a.m., the usual wake-up time for Emily and Jocelyn was 5:45 every morning. Once the bedroom door was closed, Jocelyn promptly kissed her husband. "Did you enjoy yourself today?" "It certainly was different," Emily replied. "That was certainly an understatement. I enjoy spending time with you and the girls. I should spend more time with you and less on my hobbies." Emily was referring to tournaments she traveled to up to 8 times a year. Between that and her cancer treatments, she was absent from the house up to 2 weekends a month. "Yes, you should," Jocelyn said rather emphatically. "I plan on doing so from now on. I plan on keeping my promise," Emily said sincerely. Jocelyn was thinking to herself before replying. "Seems like this pendant and that wizard have brought us closer." Jocelyn was very sad she had ever cheated on her husband. "I agree. I haven't been the husband and father I always should have been." Emily felt almost ready to cry. Rather than fight it, he let the tears flow. "I'm really so sorry for neglecting you." By this time, Jocelyn was crying too. "I'm sorry too. What I did to you was worse. I was unfaithful to you." "Well, I think we both have learned a lot from this," Emily replied as she kissed Jocelyn's cheek. "I think that by being a woman for a few days, I can understand you better, and this will make us closer." "It has made a better woman out of you," Jocelyn said as she smiled back at her husband. Emily laughed. "Yes, it has. Let's enjoy and learn from this a few more days. We can go back to that shop Thursday or Friday night." "That sounds like a good idea to me," Jocelyn said. "I think it is time for us to get ready for bed. Got to get up early tomorrow for school and work," Emily commented. Jocelyn pretended to pout. "We aren't going to make kiddo." Kiddo was the Waray word for sex or making love. "You don't have that many chances to make love to me as Emily." Jocelyn's pout had turned into a smile. "Okay, whatever makes you happy." Emily smiled back and then began to passionately kiss Jocelyn. The rest of the week was a very interesting time for Emily. The daily routine did not change. They still woke every morning at 5:45. Emily prepared breakfast in the morning, while Jocelyn prepared the girls for school. Jocelyn left for work every morning at 7:45, while Emily went to drop off Jessica and Jennybeth at their private school. After that, Emily would return with Elizabeth to the house. On Tuesday and Wednesday mornings, Emily took Elizabeth to the grocery store and Walmart, respectively. These were Emily's first outings as Emily without Jocelyn with her. These experiences outside were an interesting experience. The changes were rather subtle, almost unnoticeable. Emily did have doors opened for her by eager men, and twice was complimented by other women on how much Jessica looked like her mother. The second made Emily feel very proud. On the negative side, Emily noticed that some female workers were not as helpful as they were to men, and he received a couple of scornful looks. This was due to Emily's very short-cut, almost boyish-looking hair. Emily figured these people had probably assumed she was a lesbian. Most other details of Emily's daily routine did not change. She spent most of the weekdays with Elizabeth. This time, she had always enjoyed while as a father, and still did as a mother. During the time at home, they watched television, played, and spent time together. Emily still took care of the household laundry, and they had a cleaning woman named Nellie came to the house 2 times a week to clean. Sometimes when Elizabeth was taking a nap, she would go online and talk in the chat rooms of Gay.com. This only happened if Elizabeth was asleep, for she preferred to spend his time with her when she was awake. At 3 p.m. every afternoon, Emily would drive to pick up Jessica and Jennybeth from their private school. Evening routine was not different, with Jennybeth and Jessica usually helping her prepare dinner as Jocelyn arrived home from work around 5 p.m. After eating and cleaning up, Emily usually gave Jessica a bath, watched TV with the girls, and then retired to the bedroom sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. Twice, while out shopping, Emily noticed men giving her the look over. She just ignored the looks, but took some pride in that men found her attractive. Men did nothing for Emily sexually, not even the best-looking men on television. On the other hand, she still enjoyed looking at women, Jill Hennessy of Law Order and Alina Cho of CanBC being her favorites. It was very clear to Emily that the sexual orientation of her new body was homosexual. On Thursday, Emily took Elizabeth to a mall, but not the one where Spells R Us was located. Most of the time was just spent walking, but in a couple of instances, Emily found herself looking at the women's clothing section. She even looked at some dresses that caused Emily to get a laugh, thinking about what Jocelyn would think of it all. Also, while walking through the mall, she stopped in Victoria's Secrets, where she eyed a very revealing nightgown. Emily decided it was not practical but it since this evening would be her last night sleeping as a woman. Later that night, around 10:30 p.m., Emily had just completed making love to Jocelyn. There was little comparison between the way a man and a woman made love to a woman. Both were very different, but Emily admitted that she enjoyed the experience. Part of the reason may have been that Jocelyn found it so enjoyable. The novelty of it was partially another reason. Still, Emily had firmly made up her mind that she wanted to go back to being a man the next day. Emily was mostly afraid of being a woman. 2 things she dreaded was having a period or possible violence against Emily or Jocelyn by people that despised homosexuality. Society still did not approve of homosexuals, and Emily did not think this attitude would change soon. She knew Jocelyn would be disappointed, but she knew that there were practical reasons for going back also. Emily and Jocelyn were lying in bed just hugging. Emily decided it was time to bring the matter up. "Sweetie, I think tomorrow is the night to go back to that shop," Emily said. Jocelyn was disappointed, but their current situation couldn't last. She wished it would just go on a little longer. "You haven't enjoyed the last few days?" Emily could see the look of disappointment on Jocelyn's face. He tried to break it gently. I did very much. It is just not practical. Emily just listed the many reasons she had, leaving the one that may have bothered her the most, of having a period till last. Jocelyn knew that there were some practical difficulties. As to having a period, she said, all women have them, but it is only 4 days out of the month. I will help you through it. Jocelyn smiled at her. Did the wizard say there was any time limit too, when you must go back to being a man? No, he didn't, Emily replied. She knew Jocelyn had enjoyed their time together the last week and wished it could go on. Well, if there was no time limit, would you mind staying this way even a little longer? Jocelyn asked. There was no harm in trying, she thought. Emily really hated disappointing Jocelyn or saying no to her. She thought maybe it was best to pretend to put off the decision till seeing the wizard. Okay, let's just talk to him tomorrow night after you get off from work. The last comment brought a smile to Jocelyn's face. She reached over and kissed Emily on the lips. Till tomorrow then. Good night. I love you. I love you too, Emily said. Then she rolled over and tried to go to sleep. Friday afternoon, Jocelyn arrived home at 5 p.m. As usual, after changing clothes and freshening up, she, Emily, and the children went out to eat. They ate at a local Thai restaurant. After dinner, they drove to the mall. There, they parked the car near the south end of the mall and entered through Sears. It was a very short walk from there to Spells R Us. As Emily had said, the store was very ordinary in appearance. Both inside and outside, Jocelyn had to agree upon entering. Then Jocelyn saw an elderly man appearing to be dressed in a bathrobe and an attractive young lady walk out of the back room. Hello, Emily, Jocelyn, the wizard said. Who are these 3 pretty young ladies? Jocelyn had been warned about the wizard's appearance, but Emily had made no mention of a woman in the shop. She told the wizard the children's 3 names and ages. The wizard then personally said hello to all of them, plus introducing the woman named Danny as his assistant. Then he started to speak to Emily and Jocelyn. So how may I help you today? The wizard asked. Emily spoke. I would like to talk to you about the purchase the other day. You said I may return it if not satisfied. Yes, I did promise to allow a return, the wizard said. Then he paused, seemingly deep in thought for a moment. Jocelyn spoke up. Is there some sort of problem? No problem. None at all. The wizard then turned to Danny. Danny, these young ladies look hungry. Maybe you can take them to the ice cream shop down by the toy store while I take care of their parents. Danny knew that the wizard wanted the children out of the store for a few moments. Sure. Danny then introduced herself to the 3 girls. Emily took a $20 bill from his purse and gave it to Danny and watched his 3 girls walk out with Danny in the direction of the ice cream shop. Jocelyn and Emily watched the children leave. The wizard sensed some concern from Jocelyn. Don't fear for the children. Danny is my assistant and is training to be a wizard also. The children are completely safe with her. Jocelyn looked more relieved after the wizard spoke. Jocelyn then said, We have a few questions about the pendant and returning it. I think we need to talk, the wizard said. 30 minutes later, Danny returned with the children. After having ice creams together, they had briefly stopped at the toy store. When she entered the store, Danny was surprised to find there were still 2 women there, not a man and a woman. She thought, what possibly could have happened while she was gone? After thanking the wizard and saying they're good, Jocelyn and Emily left the shop. Before leaving, the wizard gave lollipops to Jessica and Elizabeth and a pack of chewing gum to Genevieve. He told them all to visit again. Once everyone was out of the shop, Danny and the wizard returned to the back room. Danny was most curious to find out what happened. I thought you promised to change that man back, Danny said. I did, but he decided to stay a woman. Permanently, too, the wizard explained. Danny had read the customer's mind when he entered the store. She said, when he came in, he strongly wanted to be a man again. What made him change his mind? It's complicated, yet it was really all his own decision, the wizard said enigmatically. I would like to know why too. This could teach me something. The wizard then explained to Danny what happened. When Bill, now Emily, came back to the shop, the wizard had read him again, like when they first met. He discovered there was something that he did not know the first time. If he had returned Emily to his male body, within a year his cancer would have come back. It would also come back in a more advanced state than earlier, and a much more serious state. The wizard could not tell for sure, but there was a strong probability that the cancer would have killed Bill in a little less than 2 years. But if that is so, wouldn't he also have it as Emily? Danny asked. The wizard continued to explain. Emily was totally disease-free. That was one benefit of the spell that had made her female. Asians also rarely get skin cancer, their skin being of a different type and much less susceptible to this terrible disease. Once faced with these facts and talking to the wizard, Jocelyn and Emily had decided it was best if Emily stayed as she was. Emily was very upset at first, but quickly saw that it was the only thing to do. It's better to be a healthy female than a dead male then, Danny said. Yes, it is. They are good people and they don't deserve that kind of fate. Malignant melanoma is really a horrible disease, the old man said. Danny looked at the wizard. I never saw you be so nice to people. Sort of surprises me, Danny went on. Danny, you still have to learn. I am never malicious to people. I just give them what they truly deserve. Jocelyn and Bill were good people. Unlike most people who visit here, they don't deserve the fate that was awaiting them, the wizard said. He could tell by the Danny's expression that she was learning. My magic made them better people and a happy couple. It is nice helping people, Danny said. Yes, it is, the wizard remarked. Then a young man in his early 20s entered the shop. The wizard thought to himself that this one would be fun. Emily and Jocelyn didn't talk much on the way home or while helping prepare the girls for bed. Once all the girls were in bed, Emily and Jocelyn retired to the bedroom. Emily finally let it all go and started to cry. Jocelyn sat her down on the edge of the bed and hugged her. Everything will be all right, honey. At least you are alive. We have one another and the girls. The wizard saved your life. Jocelyn tried to calm Emily down. Emily said through the tears, I know. It's just so tough. I won't ever be a man anymore. Will you miss Bill? You won't ever leave me like this. Emily pointed at herself. Jocelyn hugged her as strong as she could. I will miss Bill, but I love you now as Emily. And no, I will never leave you. Death till us part. Jocelyn said while Emily started to calm down. Emily smiled for the first time since arriving home. I almost asked if we could stop at Victoria's Secret before leaving the mall. I was just so upset, and the children were with us. Jocelyn asked why she would want to stop there. Emily explained about the nightgown. Oh, I'd love to see you in it. We can go back to the mall tomorrow, Jocelyn said cheerfully. Emily went on. Will you ever miss my Seelie? Seelie was the war word for penis. Maybe a little. If you do, I know a solution. Jocelyn went on to tell Emily about a dildo and where they could get them and how Emily could use it. Do you mind if I let my hair grow some? Emily asked, pointing at it. I like it short, but this is too short. It is as short as a boy's is. No, I don't mind, Jocelyn said. Emily was already adjusting to her new life and there were more adjustments ahead. Jocelyn was looking forward to going through them with Emily and making sure they went as easy as they could for her. Now, if you would stop talking, I would like to celebrate the beginning of the rest of our lives. Jocelyn said as she started to kiss Emily very passionately and led her to the bed. Epilogue. It was a little over a year since Jocelyn and Emily had left Spells Aras that Friday night. It had been a bit trying for Emily at first, but now she was totally adjusted to being female. Yes, there had been trying moments, her first period and her first visit to a gynecologist being notable. Emily had gotten over them, but her period was still part of her monthly chores, as she referred to it. The benefits of being female far outweighed it. Emily loved being a housewife, caring for Elizabeth and staying at home with her during the day. Emily and Jessica also had a very close relationship, like a real mother and daughter. Sometimes Jocelyn felt jealous about this. Jennybeth, on the other hand, treated Emily like a big sister, which disappointed Emily some, but she knew was for the best. In all, Emily had a happy life with the children and an active sex life with Jocelyn. Emily and Jocelyn were now closer than they had ever been as husband. Emily looked at a photo in the office that was taken just 2 months earlier. It showed Emily and Jocelyn with the wizard. They both had so much to thank the wizard for. Emily was a very happy person today. Being a woman wasn't so bad after all. It was much better than being dead of cancer. Emily was standing in the bathroom and was very excited. She decided that she wanted to call Jocelyn at work. Emily rarely did this. She did not like to disturb Jocelyn there, so Emily dialed the number. "Hello," Jocelyn said, not knowing who was calling. "Hi, sweetie," Emily said. Emily still used the pet name she had for Jocelyn she had when she was male. "What's up?" Jocelyn inquired, not knowing why Emily would be calling her at work. Emily tried to pretend not to be excited. "Well, I got some news this morning." Jocelyn was not really fooled by the way Emily was talking. There was still a sound of excitement in her voice. "And what is that?" "I got the test kit out and I see a little blue dot." Several months previous, after long discussions with Jocelyn, Emily had gone to see a fertility specialist in hopes of getting pregnant by artificial insemination. The procedure had been done only a little over 6 weeks earlier, and Emily had just used a pregnancy test kit. The blue dot confirmed it. She was pregnant. Right after saying this, Emily heard a little scream from the other end. "Well, hello, Mommy," Jocelyn said very excitedly. Jocelyn went on about Emily needing to see an obstetrician right away and other matters. "I am so excited. Let's go out tonight, just me and you, to celebrate." "No, I think I would rather take the girls along too, so we can celebrate together. They will be excited about the news too, and I'd like us all to celebrate," Emily replied. Emily had grown very maternal in the years since becoming a woman. "That sounds good to me. We got to tell the girls too." Jocelyn was referring to the children and their lesbian friends. Emily had taken on a more feminine appearance in the last year, but remained a bit of a butch inside. As Jocelyn kidded Emily, she was a femme outside, but a butch in bed. "It might be nice to have a boy," Emily said. "I don't care as long as you and the baby are okay," Jocelyn replied. "To be honest with me either." Emily was looking forward to being a mother again soon. Very hard to believe sometimes, since she had been male only a little over a year earlier. It don't matter. Life is beautiful.